Let's go like this. So I can see what I'm doing. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Look at what we did yesterday. This is amazing. I have some garbage food here that I'm going to eat because it's Halloween. So we're eating candy. Just this. Mm. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh. We made these walls yesterday. We made these walls yesterday, which is good, but we don't have all the pieces we need. So I'm going to try to do that. Mmm. Good stuff. Total garbage, but delicious. Okay. Let me go here. Hmm. I have to make this bigger. Oh, this was me. This was me testing it out, I think. Yeah. To see what it looked like with a bunch of other stuff. Oh, this is the grid that I made. I remember doing that. I also thought of a better way to do this grid than I did yesterday, which is awesome. Actually, maybe two better ways of doing it. I have to see which one I like better. Because this clicking and dragging stuff isn't so bad. I also feel like that could be automated though. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So the question becomes now. I've got these pieces. How do I get the remaining pieces that I need? Which would be um why does this not line up to my original grid here? What the heck did I do? I made it a square. Mm. Which is probably what it should have been in the first place. I don't know. I don't know. Mm. Oh, look at that. Remember the grid wasn't changing yesterday? Oh, that is 16 by 16. Oh, never mind. I thought those were 8 by 8. Okay. So, in order for me to make this work, what I'm going to have to do is probably grab these tiles and start drawing with them. But I need like a big canvas to do it on, right? So we can make our canvas bigger. Maybe we just put it to the side here. I don't know. And how much space are we going to need? Well, we're going to need at least double, maybe triple. Because these tiles are massive. Right? And we go like that. Okay, now we got some space to play with. I turn off my... This is my guide layer. Right. And what we're going to do is hide that. I don't need it right now. Wait, hold on. There's more than one way for me to do this. So yeah, I could use this, but I could also attempt to use tile setter to do this for me. Is that possible? Let's go here. And let's copy. Yeah, I'm going to copy these. And I'm going to paste them into tile setter. Is anything that we can like automate, make our lives easier, probably going to be better for us. Now, again, the weird thing with this is that the center is not really the center. And in fact, the walls are like this, but it might be more accurate to stack them up the opposite way. Right? But whatever, doesn't matter. This is the way that makes sense for me to look at it right now, so I'm going to keep it like that. And I'm going to pull one of these, even though it's not really probably the right tile to do it with. And then we would say generate borders blob. Right? The problem is when I come here and I pick a tile, it's going to be a I like how it just doesn't show anything. It's going to be one of these suckers. When I go here, oops, I mean basically the same tile. You want to pick the same one because it's automatically rotating it for us. So always pick one on the top. Which is interesting. This gives us probably some shapes. And that probably gives us some shapes that we want to use too. I'm going to test it here by drawing. Yeah, like this inside corner it made for us. Basically handles all the compositing, heavy lifting. Right? These inside corners don't exist normally. So we could make our rooms shaped like this. Hmm. Interesting. There we go. Now I can draw again. I think this program is especially useful if you're doing small tiles. Let me make a new one. And then let's try this. Grid 48. Right? And just paste the same thing in. Yes. Oh, it's not 48, is it? It's 64. Now, hold on. Is that right? One, 2, 3. Oh no, that's right. Right, and then we would have 1, 2. Yep. Very cool. Oh, and this didn't copy this floor, the ceiling thing, because this is on a different layer. Okay, that's fine. So maybe this thing can composite these for us. If I just make it on a bigger grid. Like I can make them in here on a bigger grid and then just divide them up again. Again, we're just playing with tools here is the idea, to see what our tool set's capable of doing. Grab this over here. Borders blob. It's also interesting how it like stitched it together for us. See that? But I think my corners actually look nicer because I did my corners manually. I do think my corners look a bit nicer. I'll throw my corners in. And here I'm using the actual corner instead of rotating it. Again, just to be experimental. And look at this, it created all these other complicated shapes for me. Like that's all the work I would have had to do if I just set out to do this myself. Although some of these tiles look a bit sketchy, like these. So let's play around with it to see what it can do. You see, it's not perfect. I guess that's one of the advantages of rendering these as 16 by 16 cells is you can kind of do more. But look, we have our corners here, right? These are the inside corners that we didn't have before. Isn't that amazing? So we don't, as it stands right now, we don't have these corners. So if I go back to LDTK and we try to drag out these walls. Uh-oh. Oh. Fair. This way I can see the grid. Oh, that's a bit scuffed. That is a bit weird. Why does it work here on the outside, but not on the inside? I did these rules all manually, right? I did. So these rules worked. My corner rules are actually on point. My walls are not. Oh, that's weird. Oh. Oh, I see. Do I see? So it's matching. Wait, why is it matching both of those? Oh, out of bounds. Should not apply. Empty. Is that why? No. Oh yeah, that's what it was set on. Oh. Hmm. I wonder why. Well, let's play around with this a little bit more. I need to make my room bigger. What I would like to see is if I leave a little bit of space and do another 3x3 section here. I think the size I have here is basically the smallest size I can make it though. I think what I need to do just select these and move them up. And then this can be, oh no, this would also go up. And then we would have 3 here. Okay, what does that look like? Okay, cool. What I expected. That is what I expected, but I want to see if I can fix these rules. Why are these broken? Also, this one, what I wanted to do here is make that inside corner. I'm not really sure how to make that inside corner. I think like this. Is that the shape? I don't think that's the shape. Hold on. One, it is a plus shape, right? 1, 2, my selection thing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and then 3. Okay. So I've got, I think that's what I did here. Basically 1, oops. Whatever, we'll just brush it again. 1, hold on, 1, 2. Oh, we're 1 shy short of 3. We have to remove them, right? So that'd be 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Yes, that is the shape we were trying to make. And it rightfully looks scuffed over here. I mean, the bottom one, we're expecting it to not look right. The top one, something's wrong with my rules. Empty cells, that'll make it work on the sides. Now I don't know why these down here aren't matching. Oh, look at this. And it's actually reversed. Oh, because it's a mirror pattern. It's 1, 2, 3, da da. Right, it's mirrored. So that's why it's probably matching on both sides and then flipping. It's matching this and it's matching this and then it's flipping the other one. But that is kind of the gist, right? What else can we say? Like if we block this off, then it's only going to be a single strip of it. That's actually not even going to match at all. Oh, it's not going to match because these are all next to each other, right? So this should only match. Let's read the description again. A rule is used to display specific tile based on the content of an in-grid layer. For example, you create a rule that would display grass tiles above every wall. To describe the context, you paint a pattern. That's the grid below. First, pick which tiles you would like to automatically render. The center of this pattern is where your tiles will be rendered. Paint the pattern to describe in which context the tiles should be displayed. This int grid is required in a cell. This int grid value should not be here. Use the any value special value to match any int grid value or no int grid value at all. For example, if you want to paint wall blocks where you have the int grid value 1, you just put the int grid value 1 in the center of this pattern. That means if any cell on my level contains value 1, paint the given tile there. Oh yeah, and it's got some help. Says this cell should contain walls to match. So I think this pattern we want, it does match both sides though, regardless, right? Yeah, it's so funny. That one, this pattern matches both sides regardless. That's not gonna match. Oh, it does. That's funny. But I think that is true. But if it's printing in reverse, I think that what that means is we have to make the pattern like this. But that's not right because that doesn't print on the right tiles. You see, if we go to our kind of X-ray mode here, it's not printing where we want it to. So it's going to print the tiles here. The other possibility is that I drew 3 tiles, but we don't need 3 tiles. That's not true. I don't know why that's offset. So the tile's going to be rendered here. So I think part of the reason why this is complicated is because it's for each individual tile, right? So this tile, I can't just go like that. What does that do? Let's see. That offsets everything by 2. That gives us the same result? Am I crazy? Is 2 here? Oh no. Oh, I see. Oh, look at that. I don't know what that means. Like what I want to know is what does it actually mean when our pattern is getting matched on both sides? Also, let's see what happens if I do this. That is interesting that what does one block here represent, I guess is what I need to know. The center of this pattern is where your tiles will be rendered. So in the center, we're going to render 3 tiles. This cell content doesn't matter. Oh, it says right here, this cell content doesn't matter. That's probably why I've been getting confused so much. Wait, why does it say, oh no, this cell content doesn't matter because it's empty. Move your mouse cursor over cell pattern to get more explanations about its meaning. This cell should not contain walls to match. I think because we want them to render. I think what this means is this one is matching this tile. If I put this here, then that means that these 2 tiles shouldn't have anything. And that's why it's not rendering. And there is no tile like that. So if I went like this, then it would render that. Yeah. You see that? That makes sense. That makes sense now. Because I'm saying, I guess this does represent 1 tile each. So I'm saying this tile, I'm basically matching this single tile here. This tile should have nothing, should not have a wall in front of it. And then so I could put these back saying that these should also have walls. Because what I'm also saying by doing this, right? What I'm also saying is that if I make this the trim, right, that it'll still match it. So this should be like this because we don't want that to match. Right? Makes sense? So our original thinking that 1 cell means 1 cell, I'm pretty sure is still accurate. Which should also mean, I don't know why this one works the way that it does. Because that's basically saying on this corner here, it's matching this. It's matching these 3 cells with a dot here. So I think what I could do, right, if it's really matching these inside ones, that means 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1, 2. It means if I go like this and then fill all this in, that should still match. And it does. And that's probably a more accurate rule for what I was trying to achieve here. See that? So here we have 3 cells. That means we should have 3 cells here. These are the 3 that are being rendered. This looks cool. What's up, Switchblade Mike? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how it works a bit better, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, that offsets us by 1. This is a auto tiling. Well, that's not the only thing it does. This is a map editor. It's what software is this? This is called LDTK. I have a bunch of videos on this on my YouTube channel. I'll drop a link because you're coming from Twitch. YouTube. I'll check it out. Yeah. YouTube.com. What the heck was it? Small indie. That should be the YouTube channel. I have some guides on how to use this. The guides that I used, the guides that I made, sorry, focus on using the automatic tiling feature, like the, sorry, tile assistant feature. So this is me manually programming, manually setting up the tiles, but you can use this thing too, which is an assistant, and it'll show you like a tile grid here. And you can pick a tile like this and it automatically mirrors them for you, which is cool. And then doing something like this would create these rules for you. Actually, let me go ahead and do this. This is not going to be what I'm looking for, but create rules. The only reason I'm doing that is to A, show you how it works, but B, because I want to go in here, and if we say switch to advanced mode, it'll show us the rules that it generated. Individual tiles. So this is the corner piece. Yeah. This is the top piece. This is the left piece. And the centerpiece is just the centerpiece. Okay, so based on this, my rule should look something like this, right? Where the tiles render, nothing like this, and then this tile doesn't matter, which is not what I have. So let's turn this off. Let's go here. So according to that, it should be more like, and when you hover over it, like what I'm doing, the pink is the boxes that match the rules that I made, so you can kind of see them in real time. So this rule is not right. It should be something more like this. I say more like. It shouldn't be like that exactly. Maybe it should be like that. And then flip. But this leaves me with the same problem I had before, that it flips it and one side is broken and the other side is fine. It might just be because the pattern uses 3 tiles. I think that's really the difference. So if I uncheck flipping X, this actually also matches properly. Right? I just started making games about 2 days ago. It's great to see something live. Oh yeah, cool. I don't know that I'm going to be doing any programming today. I do code on stream often, but recently what I've been doing is working on some game art assets, because I'm trying to do kind of everything. Basically everything is interesting to me, and not just the programming aspect of it, but I also really love game art. And I would like to try to exercise my creative side a bit more, because I don't really do enough art. If you ask me, like, that's one of my hobbies that I haven't touched much. This is a part of the process anyhow, so it works. Cool. Yeah. But what I am going to do, just so you know, Tetris inu, yokoso. The art aspect looks extremely interesting to me. Yeah, no, this is very cool. So we're working with, I'm doing a lot of 2D stuff recently. I haven't done any 3D yet, actually, to be honest with you. And we're working on making the tile sets. I have some software open here that I was using to do that. So this is what my tile sets actually look like. Basically, this set of tiles is what I use to uh, produce the map that you were just looking at. This. And so we're trying to set up some rules here to get this stuff to work nicely. This program also generates tiles for us, which is really cool. I just found out about this one recently. If you're interested in these, I will drop the names of all of these programs in a chat. But in any case, so what I'm doing here is I've actually, the past couple of days, I've been analyzing the artwork of, this is from A Link to the Past, Zelda A Link to the Past, Super Nintendo game. Absolutely interested, but don't let me distract you now. Your flow? Yeah, cool. And I'll just get to give you some more context. So it's kind of studying the artwork and breaking up the grid to understand how they were achieving their art style, trying to imitate that art style myself from scratch, drawing it all from scratch. And then the next step is creating those tiles, throwing them, for me, since I'm using this map editor, throwing them into this map editor, figuring out how I can do auto tiling in the map editor. And then the next step after this is I'm going to bring it into the game engine, and we're going to make like a proof of concept game using this. I do have another top-down game that I'm working on right now, but my game's tiles are way more simple because I don't know how to make more complicated tiles. And I'll show you what that looks like real quick. I guess it's not open here. Let's go open code. Glove. Here it is. Assets. Source. Tiles 2. Yeah, this one. Also drawing inspiration from Zelda games, my favorite. Yeah. So these are the tiles in my game. And in this, everything I'm using 16 by 16 tiles. 16 pixels by 16. And I'm trying to figure out how to make more elaborate tiles, basically. One of the things that I noticed about the Zelda games, or not all of the Zelda games, but specifically A Link to the Past, is that like one wall here spans across multiple tiles. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out, well, how do we accomplish this? Number one, art-wise, which I kind of figured out, right? We drew some beautiful wall tiles here. So I figured out kind of the art aspect of it. And now the next part is, how do we bring that into the game engine now, right? How do we bring that to life? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So what the heck does this pattern represent? We've got 3 blocks here. We kind of don't really care what's on either side of these. Makes sense. That style really adds nice depth to the game. Yeah, and well, that's the other thing I've noticed too. So the thing I figured out yesterday, the reason why this game looks so interesting, it is the depth. And the perspective is a bit weird. Because if you know anything, well, actually, is that true? The vanishing point, does it connect? I don't think it does. I have an annotation layer here. Let me get a gigantic pink brush. Maybe it does. Not really. Because normally you would have like a vanishing point in the center, and then everything would connect to that. But I don't think that's the case, right? This room, it kind of looks like it works because there's like sort of 4 corners here. But like here, the vanishing point looks like it's over here somewhere, right? But then these lines also go in this direction. And if it was like a single point perspective, the lines would go in this direction according to this wall, right? So that's one of the weird things, is that the perspective is kind of fudged. And that's one of the reasons I think that this also works, is it's a little bit distorting of reality because of that perspective. Like, see, if you trace these lines and then you trace these lines, they don't go to the same vanishing point. It's like a weird multi-perspective. Depending on which slice of the image that you're looking at, there's a different vanishing point, which is completely disordered. But yes, that plus the other thing that I think is really good that I'm gonna explore more is it's a grid based tile based game, right? So that means you have these 16 by 16 grid tiles. But the other reason why their game looks so interesting is because they draw over the grid. So there's a grid there, but you don't see it. And what I mean by that is if I go back to LDTK, I can give you a quick example. So if I press this button, it turns off. Shift R will turn off rendering of the tiles. So you can see here, everything is squares, right? Everything is squares, very orthographic. Everything lines up to the grid. But the way that they draw their tiles is kind of like offset on the grid. And that makes it look more interesting. It makes it look less, perpendicular everywhere. And that's why it looks more interesting. So I think that's the key to art style. That is interesting. Yeah. I think that's the key to art style. If you're working in a 2D grid, is like, I'm locked into this grid from a technical standpoint, sort of. You're not really locked into the grid anymore at this point. You can have multiple grids in your game engine that are like slightly offset from each other. And this program also lets you have multiple layers that are offset from each other. But the idea is, if you're working on this grid where everything is perpendicular, the way to make the game look more interesting is to go off the grid, like draw over the lines, like go over the boundaries. And that's the same thing like with this, I don't know if it's supposed to be carpet. In my case, it's carpet. In Hyrule Castle, I don't know if that's supposed to be like marble tiling or whatever the heck it is. Looks like carpeting to me. These carpet tiles are interesting to look at because even though they're squares, they're actually rotated. They're diamonds, which makes them, if you look, like you see the grid here is very faint. Let me go to my tile over here where I created it. Carpet. Oops. I deleted it. I had one that was just this. I'll pull it out for you. Where is it? In my all. Right? So if I grab this and I just copy it into a new file. Right? That is one tile. That's the entire carpet. If I tile this, you see how that looks? And if I draw the grid now, like it looks amazing because it's a tiling pattern. But it looks amazing because it draws over the boundaries of the tile. And so I think if you want one tip, if first focus on getting things to work and just work with normal squares because it will make your head spin less. But when you're ready to do more serious artwork and challenge yourself, which I do recommend, start drawing in this tiled mode, for example, and then just draw over the lines. And you'll be able to create these really cool looking patterns with a single tile, which is also kind of impressive. Is one tile, and it kind of tiles in both directions, and it creates this interesting pattern. And it's less boring than, for example, if I go here. So to give you a more concrete example of what I'm talking about, if I go like this and I tile it, you're like, well, okay, that's cool. These colors are going to suck. Sorry. That's actually a little bit better. Oops. Right? But you're like, you can tell that it's a grid. Right? But the second that you, for example, I'll turn on the grid now and give a brush here. And just start drawing weird shapes over these grids, right? Right, whatever you can do, like this is also, you can kind of still see the grid. Whatever you can do to sort of remove that grid and make it look less like it's a grid, you know, the more interesting it's going to look. Now that's like kind of obvious, right? Basically, you're trying to hide the fact that it's a repeating pattern. You know, I'm still not super good at this yet. Makes perfect sense. Cool, cool. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to figure out how to pull this into the game engine. So how do we write this as a rule? We've got 3 tiles here. And we want to say, okay, these are 3 wall tiles. Actually, it could have a wall tile here. Well, we'll say that it's not a wall tile. We'll call this a wall. We'll call this tile the ceiling. So it has 3 wall tiles here. We don't care about what's here, and there's no wall tile here. And on the sides of it, you can have more of these. And actually, probably should be, I did this as a thin strip like this, but maybe, right? Because that would match just drawing out, what layer am I on? That would match just drawing out like this. I guess that's fine, right? Versus if I go in here and I'm like, no, you got to have like a whole block like this, then it won't render that one. Oh, but it won't render those either because why? This is 3. Oh, no, I don't get it. No, because I wasn't mirroring it. So you're trying to get the rule to work first over here and then plug it in over there. But why doesn't that work for mirroring it? You see that? That's kind of weird. It matches those. It matches more on the left than it does on the right. Why? Empty cells, which I think is the default. This rule should not apply. Outside, empty cells. Okay, that doesn't really seem to affect us. So I think we want it on empty cells. What does this one do? Out of bounds policy is walls. Put the help back on. What is out of bounds policy? And there's no help for this. This option allows to define which int_grid value should be returned when this rule inspects cells outside of the layer bounds. The default setting prevents rules from working on level edges if they are checking for layer values. Prevents rules from working on level edges if they are checking for layer values outside of the bounds. I think that's what's breaking this. Oh no, this one's breaking that. That's the default value. Let's just turn that back on. Oh, look. Look at that. I think because we said that. Yes. Now that has a direction. And the mirroring here is working flawlessly. And then I'm going to go here and do that. Now the mirroring is broken and it's only matching on that side. So following what I did here, we've got 1, 2, 3, bam. And this is top, middle, bottom, bam. So that should be what I had originally, which is 1, 2, 3, bam. And now we can throw the mirroring on. That's why it was broken. Is this considered 16-bit game because the tiles are 16 by 16? I think 16-bit refers to, let's actually look that up. I think 16-bit, I always thought it referred to the processor, but it could also refer to maybe the color palette. Let's actually look that up really quick. What does 16-bit mean in 16-bit graphics? Refers to the possible colors that a pixel could utilize. Yeah, it's based on the colors. Primarily refers to the color depth or pixel precision. meaning that each pixel can use 16 bits to represent its color. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So I don't know how old you are or how long you've been using computers, but a very long time ago, was it a very long time ago? Uh, yeah, probably like 30 years ago, maybe. Um, Computers didn't have that many colors. A lot of times, like you would have like 256 colors or something. Like look at like Windows 3. Long enough to remember games being called that. Okay, yeah, you look at like Windows 3.0, and this is like this might not even be 16-bit color. I remember for whatever reason, I was too young to really understand at the time why we were doing it, and even today it doesn't make any sense to me that I was doing it in the first place. I think we just didn't understand at the time. But I think Windows 3 was capable of doing 16-bit color, right? Meaning the color palette was very limited. But by default, it was on 256 colors. The 256 color palette is extremely limited. There's a lot of like dithering. You'd see like kind of like this, kind of weird speckling. You know what I mean? Let's look at like 256 colors, color images. Well, that's the color palette. Would kind of look like that. That looks too many colors maybe. But you get the idea. They would kind of have like that pixelated, like old DOS games. Exactly. Kind of like that. And even like Sonic the Hedgehog, right? If we have the original Sonic sprite, that's pretty darn good though. They did really good. So with TVs with CRT screens, they would use this kind of dithering effect, which is like these kind of pixels that kind of blend together. Oh, here's probably a good picture if it's high enough quality. Nope. Oh well. um Sonic the Hedgehog sprite Genesis. Do 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 do. No no no. I don't know why all the colors are messed up here. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Actually, I guess this doesn't really have a lot of dithering, but you can kind of see. Yeah, there's no dithering here, but you can kind of see the way they blend these colors together. I can actually hear the old songs in my head. Yeah, pretty cool, right? It's like you think about something and like you can hear it or like feel it. It's crazy. You can experience it without actually experiencing it. But you can see like the colors here are very limited. He's got like 3 shades of blue. And when you zoom out, kind of, I guess, too, like these pixels and stuff like that, they were designed for CRT screens, which here we go. Here's dithering. You see how that works? See that dithering? Now, on an old CRT screen, you had scan lines, and those scan lines would actually make the dithering look better. So it was kind of a trick that they did. It was always about having like some sort of trick to making things looking better than they actually were. This is actually a really cool sprite to this is actually a really cool sprite to take an example from on how to do shading. That's really cool actually. That's really cool. 3 color tones. I kind of want to figure this out too at some point. I like looking at the images and trying to break them down visually and explain them with words. Pretty cool technology. Yeah. Dude, that end Ocarina of Time live lives rent free in my head. What was the end of it like? I don't remember. They killed it with the Sonic game. Looked so good. Yeah. And Genesis, the thing with Genesis that I didn't know, Sega Genesis, is that the console had like a really good CPU apparently, or graphics processor maybe. I'm not exactly sure from a technology standpoint what it was exactly, but it was very good at doing side-scrolling games and action games. So apparently, Genesis had like a really good edge on any kind of game that was fast-paced action. Like the console was optimized for that. But then for some reason, I think people were saying uh, that for Nintendo, people preferred Nintendo. Like developers would prefer the Super Nintendo platform for its sound chip because of you could make really good music with it. I don't know. I don't remember where I read that. I think I watched it in a documentation. Genesis was sick. I remember an Alien game. Yeah. Wait, in that old fighting game, I think it was Rampage. Rampage was the one where you're climbing up the side of the building as a bunch of monsters and you're like destroying everything. That was Rampage. I think so, yeah. I don't know if Rampage was on Genesis. I don't remember that. I know I had the original Rampage. I didn't have it. I rented it. The original Rampage. Oh, one reason why this isn't working is because there's too many tiles here. I just realized. Wait. Ah, 3 3 3 3 3. Okay, there we go. Well, that's why that one wasn't looking right. Sorry, got distracted there. Rampage. I played it on Nintendo on NES. For the background, fill in my background layer. So this program, by the way, has this kind of, you can just draw out the tiles. So I could manually go here and be like, okay, you know, let's just go like this. And I could just manually place these tiles. But for the sake of maybe efficiency, sake of wanting to do things more effortlessly. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. That's why. Whoops. I'm trying to figure out how to do it using the auto tiling feature and making tile rules. We're kind of trying to break this down and figure this out. And these auto tiling rules usually give me a headache. So it looks like the rule is matching properly. And it mirrors properly when it's on the outside. But for some reason, it doesn't match properly when it's on the inside. Why is that? So here we have a trim. So if I add this, it's going to render properly. Oops. No. Just made it worse. Go back to the trim. Oops. Why are these rules for walls so intense? Can't you just mark the areas you don't want the character to go? Oh, so that's a different thing too, by the way. We're not talking about collision right now. But that is a good point. So you're talking about collision. So what will happen is once I pull these tiles into the game engine, like the graphics themselves, I can draw on top of each one of these cells on the tile set itself. So it would be more like, where the heck is it? This one. So it'd be more like drawing on top of these. And then what I'd be able to do is say, like, okay, where is the collision on here? And you would just like draw it in, you know, I would cover like the entire thing and say, okay, this entire section is all collision. Maybe this part doesn't need any collision. And then it kind of figures that out on its own, the game engine, right? And I'll say like, there's no collision on here and there's no collision on these, but like these are walls, and that's how you kind of represent them as walls. Right now, what I'm trying to do, let me save this and I'll back out and I'll show you my game so you can see what we're striving for. So this is what my game looks like right now when you have some stuff in here, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like a Metroid game, the way that it's laid out on the map, and you can use it to make Metroid style games too. This looks badass. Yeah, this is why I like this program. So you can have, these are all my separate levels. You can have them all as one level in different areas or separate levels, however you want to manage it. I have it that each one of these is a separate level completely and it loads in separately. But I can put like these are all item pickups. These are enemy spawners. My game is loosely based on Gauntlet, the original Gauntlet. So take a top-down dungeon crawler. I can create a new level here. I can move this around. I can have it connect to the other areas if it makes sense, right? So for continuity, I can slap it over here, for example, and I can see a little bit of this level. So if I want to have some walls carry over to something that makes sense, and I've got different layers here. So this layer is for collisions. These are walls. And I'll just take a brush and I can just kind of drag out. And you see how I can make these shapes and it just knows which graphic to put. Like it knows, oh, this is the top left corner. This is the top right corner. This is a left wall. This is a bottom wall. This is a bottom left corner. It knows how to put these tiles down. And if I do this, you see that? It knows how to make a square. It's automatically updating the rules. It knows this because of the auto tiling rules that I set. And I can cut out a little hole in the middle. And it knows how to do this. So this is the workflow that I'm striving for. And you can do fill, right? Like I can do paint bucket, fill the entire screen. I can right click to erase things. And I can hold, if I hold shift, it makes lines or boxes, right? And like all of these shapes, I had to draw all of these. A 3-tile wall is creating difficulty then. Yeah, that's really what it is. So when I do this, I use the assistant to make these rules for me. So I didn't actually write the rules myself. So with the assistant, this is my tile map in the middle, and this is the sort of template. I'm like, okay, well, this one is this tile. The top should be this tile. So this is like my 9 square grid. And then these are all the other shapes that you can create with the corners, like inside and outside corners, single tiles. These are the single tiles going down. These are the single tiles going left to right. This is the 1x1 tile. And this is how I did it before. And it's easier when they're all one because I can just come in here and plug it in and it'll just work and make the rules for me. But I'm trying to figure out how to, again, like I'm trying to push the limits here and try to upgrade my graphics to use 3 tiles instead of 1. And what the reason why I'm doing it like this is because if you look at Zelda here as a reference, this is a 3-tile wall, right? But in this section of the map, see, like this area is higher up than this area is. This is a 2-tile wall, or 1.5-tile wall, actually. Right? So, because my original thought was, well, what if I change my grid instead of 16x16, I make it 48x48, and now suddenly my wall is just easier to deal with. Well, I guess this doesn't line up exactly to the grid, but you get the idea. If we made it line up to the grid, it'd be a little bit easier. But so if I go here, where's my dungeon walls? And we change the grid to, I don't think this will change because I have a tile. Yeah, I have a tile layer, so it's going to be picky about it. But if you change that grid, like if I do it here, and then we go, whatever, right? I think if I change it, I think I can change it on this layer. See that? Well, it's just because it doesn't line up. But if it lined up, you could see that this would just be like 2 or 3 tiles, right? If I change the grid size. But then the problem is, if you change that grid to that size, then you're stuck. That anytime you want to make a wall, you need a wall that's 48x48. So what I figured out, one of the reasons I think a Zelda still uses 16x16 is that it also, I mean, there might be some technical reason behind it also, but it also gives them some flexibility that not all of their walls have to be that size. So again, the cop out, right? If we want to make our lives easier, I would just go here and I would just make a new layer. Somewhat easier, right? Depends on what your definition of easier is. Sorry, I made an auto layer by mistake. Go here and just make a regular tile layer. Right, and then I hide this. I could just go here. Oh, there's no, I have to pick a tile set. Castle. Right, and this is my tile set. And I can just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna draw the tiles myself. Right, like this. And if we draw them out, or it should be like this. Oops. Now I can just draw whatever the heck I want, wherever the heck I want it. I don't have to worry about the rules. I can't draw a straight line apparently. Which is maybe also partly why I didn't do this. Do it this way. So I could do this, right? And then I can make, you know, I don't have to worry about any tiling rules exactly. Right? Very kind of straightforward. But I'm trying to make use of the auto tiler. I'm trying to figure out if it's possible. I think it is possible to make auto tile rules. I drew this on the background layer again, like a dummy, even though I added a new layer. The whole reason I added this layer. Oh, no, that's not the background layer. I thought this was highlighted. It wasn't. Let me put those back. Oh, there is no Control Y. Oh, that's why it's Control Y. So that's just a regular tile layer. I can put whatever what I want where I want and just not think about any of this auto tiling stuff. But the auto tiling, you know, as you saw before, when it's set up, it works really well. You don't have to think about things so much. Yeah, this one I did. Oh, this was my experiment using the 48 by 48 grid. Right? That's what this was. And then if I duplicate this, I can show how the rules are actually made. So that's interesting. I can see how the auto tiler makes its rules. So we'll go in here. We'll show this layer again. Work on our rules. And from what I can tell, this isn't even how the rules should be written. It should be like that, but that just doesn't work for some reason. I don't know. Like the rule that we just saw to make the corner doesn't look like this. Doesn't look like that at all. I don't know why, but that's fine. This rule seems to be working right now, so I'm not going to question it. Although it's not working in here, right? In there, it's a problem. I think in there, it's a problem because we have tiles on this side, right? Okay. Oh, I see. So I don't even need that. Maybe. Oh, maybe I do need that. That's good because we don't want that to match. This is an inside corner. We don't want that to match that. So that's good. We figured that out. We actually slightly improved that maybe. Now this rule matches the right tiles. However, I don't know why it's reflecting this. Like it matches that. Oh, I see. It's also matching the corner. I think that's why it's screwing up maybe. It's like it matches these top corners on the right also. So if we reflect it, because this rule, like if I go like this, you'll see it'll screw up the top. Yeah. Hmm? Okay. I'm spending time on this because I want to, well, because I want to, but I want to understand it more clearly. See, I would have thought that once you get it right in one spot, that you can just flip it and it would work on the other side. Out of bounds policy, walls. Why is this different on the left than it is on the right? But that would mean that if I go here and I make these walls, that it flips back, and it does. You see that? Step back to the trim. Oh, I see what's happening here. This isn't actually wrong. This is actually right. This is right because this is here. That's weird. This is a bad example, and that's why this is all messed up. Let me make another. I see. This might work itself out. I'm going to put ceiling as another grid value, and we're going to add some ceiling rules here. Rules, walls, ceiling. I'm going to just make a very basic rule for ceiling, which is just show the ceiling color. Because, sorry, it should be ceiling. Oh. Ceiling, there we go. This is a bad example that I made. That's why this makes no sense. Because for you to have this the way I had it, where I was expecting this to look down, like I was expecting this wall, I was expecting this to be on this side. In order to get that, I would have to make this a ceiling. Sorry, that's not the ceiling. That's the ceiling. Right. And now that this is a ceiling, these tiles should work differently. Actually, these tiles just should be ceiling tiles, if that's the case. So this room needs to be reimagined. So let's make this make sense. Okay, now that I have this, let me select these tiles. Now that this is all ceiling, this doesn't have to be so far away. This can be up here from the top, I mean. It doesn't have to be so far from the top. It doesn't have to be so far from the bottom. Make some of this, like this could be ceiling easily. I had to step away, but it's looking good. Thank you. So that's the reason why this is all screwed up. Go back to walls, turn that back on. So my corners are cornering. And this is fine. And now here, I think instead of not wall, we want that to be not ceiling. And now what does this match? Well, that matches too much. should be not wall, but it should also be not ceiling. Or maybe this should be not ceiling. Or that should be ceiling. Hold on. Wait, these are now flipped the wrong way. That should be ceiling. There we go. See? That's coming into place. And then this ceiling on the top. Whoops, that should be a ceiling. That should be a wall. So maybe my issue was that I didn't have enough rules in place. And the reason why this doesn't look right is because we have too many wall tiles here, which is right. These should be ceiling tiles. Nice. You see that? Now things are starting to work. That's what it should look like. But it should only look like that when we have ceiling tiles up here. And then if I put walls over here, yep, that's right. It should go down now. And then that could be trim over here. Yeah, look at that. That's what it should, that's how it should work. Okay, so my issue was that I just didn't have enough rules yet. I was panicking too soon. But now that we got this working, this is great. And then instead of this, I think what that should be is this should be ceiling. That head out. It's been fun and very informative. Subbed on YouTube. Thank you for the YouTube sub. Thanks for your time and energy. Yeah, no problem. Thank you also. Appreciate your time and energy as well. I see. And then we treat outside cells as ceiling cells. X, Y. So those still work fine. Why doesn't this one work? Go back to my X-ray vision. What should this look like here? So, problem here is that these need to be, we needed 3 tiles above here to create an inside trim. There it is. We're starting to see the inside trim. We might have some missing pieces here, which might be why this is empty. What we can do here, whoops. Let's move this down. Move that across. Oh yeah, this creates a weird shape just in general, I guess. I see. This is not the shape we want. What we wanted here was we wanted this. That was the shape we were trying to create. We were trying to create a weird shape, and we successfully created a weird shape. Let me do, I should do this differently on different maps. I'm trying to do everything on one map to illustrate things, but that is not going to work for us. I think what I need to do is create different test cases as different levels. Right? Well, that's not right. Don't know why that doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? Allow rules to stack. I don't think that's the reason why. Trim outer. Any other ink grid value. Oh no. I erased the whole thing somehow? How did that happen? Bummer. I don't think that's right. I think I have to reverse them. But I will figure that out. I think the actual spec is where the transparent part should be. Yeah, so I think I did that one right just now. I think that's why I have them laid out like this. And I think this one should be... Oh no, that's right. Yeah, should be where the transparent part is. Yeah, that's right. That is not really how we wanted this. But maybe that's okay for now. That's how they created their rules. I'm not going to nitpick about that for now. We might revisit that. Let's create some walls for now. That's a 3x3 wall. That's a 3x3 wall. That's a 3x3 wall. And that's 3x3. What? I broke the rules completely? Huh. Okay. I can see that affected this. No, it didn't. I don't mind nothing at all is oops. Nothing at all is rendering here. Did I do something weird? Oh. Hold on. Does this require the trim to be on the inside? Just paint it like that. Well, that's weird. All right, so we've had a regression here in our rules. That's obviously not the case. This rule should apply. And I'm pretty sure the assumption is that outside of the bounds is going to be ceiling. Oh, but hold on. This is matching this wall because these are touching, right? Maybe not. I don't know why I can't see anything at all. That's crazy. And my trim's not working here anymore either. I think I picked the wrong tiles for my trim is what I did. Go back to my trim. Yeah. Why is it when I go into my trim here, my rules disappear every time I open it? It's a bug. It's a bug. So maybe it is like this. That where it's drawing should be... If it's drawing on the left, it would be like that. And it's drawing on the top right. I don't think any of these are going to draw on the top right. I think this one draws on the top right. This one's transparent. And this one draws like this. That's why. Okay. That gets me what I wanted. That probably also fixes my weirdness. If I go here and I just fill this all with trim, no, that doesn't fix that issue with the trim. Oh shit, I have two different things called trim. I see what's happening. I think maybe because there's two with the same name or something. I don't know. There's a bug. It's bugged. What? There are three named trim. Every time I think it created a new one. So hold on, let's go back here. So that one works. That one's wrong. Yeah, every time I edited it, it created a new one. So that's just a bug. Unfortunate. Okay, so that one works for there. Doesn't work for here. Why doesn't it work for there? Outer grid value really could be any grid value. Like, let's switch to advanced mode. These rules are very simple to replace. And let's see why this isn't working. It rules the outside as trim. Rules the outside as an empty cell. So I think that's why you just don't have enough control over our we don't have enough control over our rules to get it to work right. Oops. There we go. Now that works right there. That works right there. Questionable. Questionable. Maybe that's not how we want that to work. I guess the reason why this is difficult also, right, is it's like we have a bunch of if statements, but we have so many tiers of if statements, like so much logic that goes into all this that it really complicates things. Like the actual solution to this, definitely the easiest solution to this is not to use the auto tiler. But this is me like challenge accepted mode, trying to get the auto tiler to work. All right, treating them as empty or treating them as walls. How about that? Treating them as walls, treating them as ceiling. I guess it really doesn't matter, but if I treat them as trim, it'll point it in the opposite direction. And this is tricky. It's tricky. I actually don't think it's possible because there are cases where oh no. Yeah, what would this be? There's not enough context actually. Let's make it empty cell. There's not enough context to render this properly, I think is the issue. So we're just going to go for this one. Let's go back and make this all ceiling. And that's fine. Because I think this is expected. Now, because if I go like this and I snap these together, and then I put another one here, new level, snap these together, I would expect that if I do a trim over here, treating it as empty cells, or this rule should not apply. But if I change it to the default, which is this rule should not apply, it's not going to render any cells over there. I see. It's not reading the cells from the other. That might be an option though, right? I feel like that is an option to read the cells from the map next door. Super simple export, save levels to separate files, project settings, backup, grid, workspace, background color, advanced project settings. Maybe it's an option on the layer. Allow selections shown in world view, asynchronous render, hide and list. Like what we want is disable optional state. I don't know what that means. Oh, edit out of bounds policy for all roles. That's cool. Because if we make it trim, it'll continue this trim, right? Which is, in this case, expected. However, if we have a new level over here, it's tricky. Oh, and then this one doesn't render at all. So that would be a regression. Oops. Default setting prevents rules from working on level edges if they are checking for layer values outside of level bounds. I would like it to check the level next to it, actually, is what I would like it to do. But I don't think that's how it works. I should name that differently. Walls 48. I think that's fine. So that goes back to this. How do we match something that's not a corner? Oh, that's why I had this other one here. I had this other one here just for reference. Let me add a new group with the assistant. Walls. Assistant. Walls. Just to get some basic ones. I'm going to keep that off, but we're going to see how they match is what we're going to do. So not a wall and a wall. Not a wall and a wall. Not a wall and a wall. Those make sense. The 3x3 ones are a little bit weird. What if I change it to this? Oh, And those actually render in the right spot. Interesting. These do not at all. Why does this work? Why does that work? But when we rotate the shape, it does not work. Oh, wait, hold on. I put not ceiling, didn't I? Yeah, I put not ceiling, not wall. Oops. That's interesting. Now that I have another cell type to work with, if I flip it, oh, it doesn't double flip. Okay. Interesting. And we know that this shape, we know that this isn't going to work right now. Because I have to figure out what this even means. Actually, to be honest with you, it probably shouldn't have a shape like this because the middle, because what the heck is the middle of a wall? I think it's questionable, right? If I put sorry, not trim, but ceiling here. Oh, it's kind of working. Yes, it's kind of working. So flipping the ceiling, putting ceiling here instead of trim, right, which is the floor type, putting ceiling here should effectively flip the wall sprite to the opposite sides. And it can do this using the rules that we have. It's working for these three walls. I don't know why it's not working down here. I see, because those shapes are different. The corners, I think, are fine for now. I don't have inside corners, though. Or maybe what that needs to be is not ceiling, and then it'll just work. Hmm. Let's go back to my weird experiment here of just using a single tile. But I guess I'm still not 100% sold on this having to match the number of tiles that I put here. Let's also not flip it yet. Let's see what this is matching. I got ya. It matches all of those, which is a problem. Still matches all of those. That was the magic square that made the whole thing work, I think, to begin with in the corner. I think that's how I had it originally. Yep. That matches those pieces fine. Which is true. It has to be not a ceiling. Question is, why is it matching these other tiles? Now it only matches that block. Okay. Okay. It's not matching these though. We need to make it match those somehow. Go here real quick. I want to see. Yeah, I guess. Like there. Was very close. Hey, look at that. And I think the reason why that's working is because of the out of bounds policy. Should treat them as ceiling. That's because this matches everything now. This one 100% we want to match ceiling. Now some of these, yeah, because some of these might actually be different here. I guess is the other part of this. This one still mostly looks good. We still need to figure this out. Our four walls seem to match okay. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this shape just makes no sense. Because what the heck would go here anyways? This would have to be a ceiling. Right? This would actually have to look like this. In which case, this would have to be a different shape. This would be our L connector. And these would just be flat. This might just be too difficult, but I know, I was pretty sure um, that Adam Eunice, guy I watch on YouTube, he's working with multiple, maybe 32 by 32 tiles, but he's using auto tiling. But maybe I should ask him how he does it. Now he does it in tiled, which is a different tile. based map editor, which is fine. But maybe there's an easier way to do it using tiled. Or maybe I can do the same thing that tiled's doing in here. No, I think this would have to be ceiling. Ah, it depends on what goes in here. Like if this is all ceiling, I think what would help is if I go here and create, using the tile map, creating my expected results basically using the tile map. Can I duplicate? I think I can copy. And duplicate. Now we have a copy of this. This works using this. We're going to create this using regular tile rules. Which is going to be a lot harder to do. Arguably, let's go to background. Fill these. Now we're going to do, now this one has this. I guess what I'll just do here is turn this one on. So there's a one space here. I don't know how many grids that is. But that's supposed to be what? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, hold on. That's 3, 6, 9. Oh, there. That's weird. I don't think that's the right size. 3. I think this thing is off by a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Is that possible? 3, 3, 3. Yeah, 1, 2. You see my issue with this, right? Well, I guess it should, number one, I guess it shouldn't matter. But number two, my issue with this is that it's not an even number of tiles. 3, 3. Like there should be another, oh, that's what it is. There should be another tile in here. But it shouldn't matter. Right? It should be like that. And then, whoops. But it also shouldn't matter because we're using 16 pixel tiles. It shouldn't matter. It should still line up fine. I don't know how this keeps happening and that the background keeps not being filled in all the way. Oh, because maybe what happens is when I move the tiles, I think it selects tiles on all layers. Is there a thing for that? Single layer mode. This will also affect the selection tool. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm making holes, because I'm selecting all layers at the same time. Which I did kind of want to do because I wanted to move this trim over, so it's fine the way actually I had it. Okay. So let's go here, and what I'll do is I'll just mark this. I'll just put like a random tile here to mark this. Just to mark my 4 corners. Oh, this is actually very educational. Because what I've done here, actually, it would be like this. What I've done here is created what these tiles normally look like, right? These are the patterns. And actually, it would be like this, right? It'd be like that. And that's how I would know how they would line up to the actual grid. Well, this one would also be kind of like this in this shape, because these are boundaries here. They don't connect to other things, I think. And there is no shape like this. There is. So this is a weird shape, because this would be the single shape. Yeah, that's a weird shape. So to kind of, let's go here real quick to my levels. Because I'm pretty sure I don't have it. Let me add it. And we're going to call this template. And what my template's going to do is my template's going to help me do some problem solving here. Right? By going like this quite easily. Nice thing about my template is that it matches LDTK exactly. I don't have to worry about hunting for the tile because it's in the exact same order. Anytime I pick one tile, it automatically does the mirroring. And since these are all symmetrical tiles, I don't have to worry about any of that. And biome, maybe we should create a biome for this in our enums. Biome debug is what I'll call it, the debug biome. And this might be a funny thing to actually even just add into the game. Right. Like, oh no, we're in the debug level. How did this happen? uh, so what's the shape we had before? We had a rectangle shape, which was 1, 2, 3. It was a 3x3 rectangle. But our tiles are way bigger, so it looked more narrow. And then we had a 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3. That wasn't the shape that we had. Oh, and I see. So it doesn't render like this. It's the outside edge. So it would use the 1 pixel thing like this. But if this is, it depends on what's here. If this white stuff is ceiling and this is inside, then yes, it should be what I had. It should look like this. This is the shape we were trying to create. I just realized. So, and that's assuming this is all ceiling though. If it's not ceiling, right, then we have to figure out how that works. Because all the rules get reversed if the outside is not a ceiling. This is a good tile though. Like I could grab this, throw this back in here, split this up, touch it up a little bit, add some more highlights going down into here, make it look more on the outside edge. We still have to figure out how to make those rules. But now I understand. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make the rules reversible so that this shape becomes which shape? This shape, I think. No, try again. Maybe this one? 'Cause what shape is this? That's a single shape. Right? Or no, it's not because it doesn't connect this. I think that's one of the dot dot shapes. I think that's a... Where is this in my list? Oh, interesting. My eyes weren't even looking in the negative space. There's the dot dots. The dot dots work like that. So I have no idea. Oh, because that's an empty tile. This is this. Yeah, I'm dumb. This line, this contour line is made by this shape, which is a straight line here, and then the top shape, straight line there. This is a tile. I forgot I was using the eraser tool. This is a tile that goes up into it and then down. And it fits into this one, which is a bottom, right, which is flipped. I got it. And how do they do the corners? So the corner tiles, but for them, I see why this is weird. For them, the corner tile... So where is a corner tile? Let's make a new map that's not flood filled. Sorry, this one I need to also set the debug biome. And so a corner is going to be like that because the corner has nothing to the top and the right of it. The reason mine has something to the top and the right of it is because mine is flipping it. Yes, that's why my rules are backwards. That's why it's weird. This would be, hey, create a wall. If we're looking top down, this would create a wall, meaning that this would be the top right corner. So this tile is not, it's not this tile, right? Top right would mean, sorry, top left would mean not this tile, but the opposite of this, which I think is this, would be on the top left. Hold on, my brain needs to wrap around what I just said. Right, because the inside of this is not floor. The inside of this is a ceiling. That's why. So my tiles are backwards. My tiles are backwards. I think it's part of my problem. So it wouldn't be this. It would be this. It would be my top left. This should be my top left. And then we should have ceiling on the inside. That's why this is weird. Okay, because we're not drawing where the walls are. Now we're drawing where the floor is. I mean, I could do it either way, right? I could do it either way, but in that case, I'm not drawing walls, I'm drawing floor, right? That is very trippy. Oh, did I just wreck this? It doesn't matter. This is inversion control. I can probably fix this anytime I want. Okay, yeah, no, it's fixed. It just didn't, for some reason, not rendering right. That's all good. Easy to fix. Okay, so this is not walls. This is floor. And that's why the way I'm conceptualizing this is wrong. The way I'm writing these rules is backwards. I'm writing these actually as if they were the floor. So let me rename this to floor. I'm going to turn this off. The ceiling is what we're actually drawing here. Now let's make those same rules in ceiling and see if we can't make sense of this. Oh, that's why I did it that way, because my tiles, I drew my tiles this way. I can only select them this way because I didn't create the inverse in Sprite. So let's go back to Sprite. And what I'm going to do here, I select all these. We're going to duplicate them, align it to the grid, and go like this. And now let's export that and come back. Oops. Come back here. Cha-chong. Everything is broken. That's what we want. Actually don't even know. Oh. This is also why my rules aren't working. Probably. Or also why I was having issues with the corner. Let me check this real quick. Look at the floor in this corner and what. Oh, but I don't need, these are just sides. Okay, that's why. I'm just dumb. Sorry. I thought I did something weird. My brain did something weird, but just now, but I didn't actually do anything weird. Oops. We want rectangles. Right? And then we're going to have ceiling and not ceiling. This rule should not apply outside, which is true. Sorry, what? I'm confused. Oh, no, 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 no. Right. Let's rename this to walls. This is not ceiling anymore. And now my walls layers, we're going to draw walls wherever the heck we want walls. And that's why this is weird, because I'm using ceiling enum here. Should be like that. That's right. Hey, look at that. That is right. Oh my gosh. I think that's going to simplify everything. So I go like this. Sorry. Don't know why that's not working. Oh, I do know why that's not working. Sorry. There we go. There we go. Which we could probably do this in a couple of different places. Yeah, see? See? Ah. That's why. I was making my rules backwards because I drew them kind of backwards. I was not backwards, but thinking about them in a different way. Sorry, in the wrong one. So I was thinking about them differently. So these are walls. So if I go like this, and then I start making pockets. Why are my corners not showing up? Oh, because I'm drawing the wrong color here. Oh no, that is them rendering. Say what? Hold on, walls. I need to make more tiles, number one. So let's do that. Switchblade Mike, thank you for following the stream. So that's my problem. Oh, and this is the right rule. So we're gonna do this. That's gonna be yes. Maybe. I think filling the entire canvas. Oh, I have two different shapes here. It's confusing me. So what I should do. Oh my god, it's hard to tell. Wait, G is the grid. The grid is so faint, it really doesn't help me, dude. Grid is on. Oh, I'm drawing ceiling tiles. I might want to remove that enum. No, I think it's fine. Right, and then when I do 3 by 3, I don't know why my rules. Oh, do. My bad. That's why that's not working. Let's just make a small rule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh wait, 1, 2. Ugh, I'm so bad at counting. It's embarrassing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 9. Okay. 3, 6, 9. 3, 6, 3, 6, 9. So this is not tall enough. Heyo, that is totally wrong. Oh, because we need to fill it in. So this simplifies making the rules, I believe. Before I start flipping that. This is here. Right, so that's right. So this should not be a wall. And that should be a wall. Oh, this is not working because I selected individual tiles and it's putting down random tiles. There we go. That's the rule we wanted. And we're going to flip it. And then this one. Oh, I see. The reason this isn't working is because this is on the boundary, which, how do we want that to work? What should this be considered? Yeah, actually, that's right. That is right. That should be exactly like that. These corner pieces are the wrong ones. These need to be flipped corners. So these pieces, even though they match here, we need an extra rule. We need an extra rule to make it flip when it's connected to something above it. So let's go here. Rectangle of tiles. We're going to use this corner. Right, now how do we write this? I could try to do the opposite. And of course we would flip it. It's kind of wrong. You know why? Because to get the rotation that I want, it has to be different. I think I can do it. I think I can do it here. Yeah, this is what we want. We're close. So this rule is very close. So what needs to happen here? We need to either move this to the right like this. Nope, wrong direction. Or we have to move it to the left like this. That's what we want. And then flip X. Ooh. Okay. So I think the key here is working with single tiles in here. That does seem to be the key. What does this look like from this standpoint? Right, because all that's going to be ceiling. And if I do walls, that's fine because I didn't do my top and bottoms yet. 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay. Lovely. And then this can be like this. Nice. That will make that render properly. We're making actually big progress here. So the next rule I want to add in between these two is going to be the top and bottom tile. We're going to do rectangles of tiles. We're going to do, oopsie daisy, this slice of 3. Hardest part might be selecting the actual tiles I want. Now that I've become a master. No, I'm not even close. Okay, maybe like that. Okay, so we can see here we've got 2 tiles rendering off the grid where we don't want them. So if I go here, I also got to drop this down in priority, like this maybe. Worry about that weirdness in a second. Okay, and I think also part of the problem why this is so weird is because this should also all be ceiling. Right. See, now things are starting to look normal again. And we want to make sure that this matches in here. So that doesn't match at all in there. Maybe like that. Actually, why doesn't that match anything? A normal ceiling tile would be, I think, like this. Oh, that does exactly what we want it to. See, now that we're talking, now that we're speaking the right language, everything's making more sense. Before, my walls, the graphics were sort of inverted, right? I drew them in a way that made sense when I was drawing them, but now pulling them in here, I was, you know, I was conceptualizing these walls as not walls, I guess, as the floor, right? And I guess that's why the rules weren't making any sense. I was trying to make them as the floor, and they should be walls. And that's fine. And here, this is good. This is a tile that I don't think I have. No, my normal corner should be able to do that, I think. Mm. Well, that, I don't know. That should also, let's put this here, because that should match this, which it will, which is great. Ah, I see. So I don't want to match this because I don't want this shape over here. I want the X flip of that over here. So I'm going to make a new rule for that, which means not this, the opposite of this. Which I think is easier to do. It might actually just be easier to make all of these rules if I just make all of these tiles. Instead of trying to like, I'm playing tile golf here, doing like, oh, let's make the least amount of tiles possible. But then the rules get more complicated, right? So let me just find the rule that matches this. And it's actually not even that, right? Because what matches this is going to be it's going to be like that. Right? But it's going to be like that. But it's going to be a corner. Oh, sorry. Like that. Close. Close. Let's look at how it's rendering. Okay. It's rendering 2 to the right. And I think the way we interpret that is if it's rendering 2 to the right, we move it 2 to the right. As weird as that sounds. Yes. Okay, I thought it would have been the opposite. That's starting to make sense. And it's rendering 1 above where it should be. So we need to move it 1 above where it is right now. And that puts it in the exact spot that I want it to be. And now the issue is that the graphic is wrong. So how do we fix the wrong graphic? We go here and we put the right graphic. Or we invert the rule, which means we would go like this. Yeah. Yep. And now it's off 1 by 1 to the right. So we're going to move it 1 to the right. I'm starting to understand how to troubleshoot these now, which is amazing. And then if I flip the X, it'll handle that side. And if I flip Y, it should handle another intersection if I had one. So let's make another intersection here. Just take 3 random tiles. Whoa. And make a cutout like that. maybe, but then to make that work, we'd have to go like that, but it's going to keep creating that up, right? Yes, I just might be missing a rule. Is all right, and I know there's some tiles that don't have like these. Which is kind of fine. So why is this not the right tile? Ah, what tile is that? Oh, that's this tile. That is not the right tile. This is not the right tile because there is nothing. Hmm. Hmm. What should be there? What should this look like? Well, the top section of this image is right, which is nice. Let's also test out. If I add this, it should have a nice box on top. It doesn't. Okay. So this rule, oh, because we're not flipping Y. There we go. That fixed the bottom. Okay. Sort of fixed the bottom. I mean, the bottom's still whacked out beyond all imagination. But that's because these pieces are missing, I'm pretty sure. Yep. But now here, the weirdness here is that this is a corner, but I think the expectation is that it would just be a straight line. Ooh, that's also really weird and wild. Oh, because this piece is missing. No, that would just be a regular left wall, which would be, we would want that to match kind of the way our wall here matches. We want that, and it does match this. Oh, I see, but the corner has higher precedence. We do this. Oh, that actually fixes that. I thought that was going to break. Okay. So then if I erase this, okay, it's still in a weird situation because we're not really sure how to handle this. How do we handle that? Because it is a corner. It's definitely some kind of corner. But what's the expectation here? I think the expectation is that, oh, the expectation here is that this would take precedence. Yeah, and that makes sense because that shouldn't be a freaking corner either, unless we go like this. Like that. Like I was expecting this to be a corner this way. But then there's nothing here to resolve the end of this wall. I guess that would just be another. Right, because if we fill this in, this would be ceiling. Okay. Okay. This is coming together and this is making sense. What happens if I remove a single tile from here? Whoa. And I think that's what should happen, actually. That's actually exactly what should happen. This is just a missing tile, which is fine. That's a missing. That's a missing shape. Which is also weird to resolve because our tiles are 3x3 tiles. We're using 3 tiles, not 3x3, but we're using 3 tiles, right? And here, this would require a connection piece here and a connection piece here. Connection piece here. This would be gone. Oh, but it always pushes it back, right? Interesting. Interesting. This is decent, though. This is decent. Oops. Isn't there an undo? There we go. That's decent. Okay, and then if we do you go like this, what should that look like? Yep, that should look like that. Okay. Interesting. Very cool. Now let me try laying down some trim. Oh, it just works. Wonderful. Very, very wonderful. Okay. Very nice. And then I guess what I could do here, like I have this as a fill. I could go like this, and then this would look right-ish. Oh no, it doesn't because of the way this works on edges. Trim. Basically need to change this to be like this, I think. Oh no, sorry. I need to make that, not that it doesn't work. I need to make that, treat it like trim. I don't know why it's busted on that side though. Why is it busted on this side? Very consistently so. It does match on both. Oh, it matches on both is the problem. And how does my rule for this work? That it's matching the right thing. Oh, wait. Bonk, bonk. Outside, inside. It's the exact same rule. Outside, inside on this. Unless this means not this, but this. Well, if I did the wrong thing, I meant to say this, but if I do that, it's gonna bonk it again. That's actually probably how it should be, all over here and all over here. This one is a weirdo. Why are you so weird, sir? Stop being so weird, weirdo. Trim. This is the piece. Mm-hmm. It still matches this. Oh, because maybe what I should do is this. Now it only matches that. Now they'll both be bonked. So what I really need to do is say this should be a wall. And this should not be a trim. And then reflect it. No, because that breaks this. It must be... Oh, because, right. Right, because of the way I did this. So if I do this, it'll fix itself. Basically, only lay the trim tiles down where they should be instead of being lazy and fill it in is the TLDR here. I'm going to have to do the same thing on here. Oh, lovely. Look at you work. Look at you work the way I want you to. So lovely. Gotta love that, guys. Okay, now this, the question now here. So let me go back here. Maybe I can change the way these work for out of bounds. What is it right now? I think right now it's set to trim. Oh, but this is all black. This should go like this. Okay. It's rendering something. I like how it renders. Oh. Renders this because I said this rule says not this, but these rules say explicitly not a wall. So what that means is if I want this to work right, I got to go like this and tell it to treat the outside ones like walls. And now the corners are going to break. Corners are not breaking. I thought the corners would break and then the other ones would just start working. Oops. Well, those broke somehow. Why is that not working? Oh, that is working. I just had to refresh it. And then this one's broken because of this. I think I have to do that. Ish. Oh, that's happening because of that. And this is not this. That's not what we want there. So it is matching this rule. Oh, the other way to do this is maybe this has to just take precedence. Yeah. That's what it is. So then this should also take precedence. No, I don't know why this isn't working. That should probably work though. No? Oh wait, hold on. Yeah. I mean, the other way we could do this, I don't know. This whole use case here, I'm just going to delete because I don't know if that's a real use case. I need to actually make maps first and then decide what should work and what shouldn't work. Because if that really is a use case that we want to be able to trim an entire room without any other walls, then it probably should just be a different rule, right? And maybe it should be on a different int grid value, maybe. And then this is not working just because we filled in the middle. Which we could, honestly, if we wanted to, change that as well. But I think this is fine the way it is. Right? Like if we wanted to make this work, we might be able to. Do I have to add this? Maybe I don't need to add this. Oh. I broke my corner. I broke my corner because, oh, I did that. Yeah. Whoops. Because I'm saying that my trim should be next to a wall. That's what I'm saying. Here I'm saying my corners don't really matter. What the heck was this rule supposed to be for? Does this rule actually do anything? No. Oh, it does. It does a different type of thing. Yeah, I got you. I'm not sure if doing what I did here is the right thing to do. But that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind representing the wall like this. It's a little bit more extra work to draw it, but that's fine because we probably shouldn't be drawing tiles where they don't exist. Because this is the one that says to draw blank when there's a bunch connected, which I actually might not even need this rule. Right? But okay. So that's good. So let's take another test. This is fine. Let's do another test here. And this one, we're going to take walls and fill the entire thing with walls. And that's what we would expect from the entire thing being walls. And then if I start removing tiles, yeah, look at that. That's actually probably what we expect here also, right? If I add another level here, yep, that gives us space to put the other one. I think this is working the way we want it to. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, I did the same thing here. Let me make more compartmentalized rooms like this. I actually have to erase for that to work. And then this doesn't really need to be, this could be like this even, I believe. Oh, that's interesting. That is actually interesting that we match this. So this is wrong. What should actually happen here though? Let's take a look. Here, oh, it's not possible to draw this because I don't have enough. I don't have enough cells, right? This should actually be up to here. So this shouldn't be possible. So I think it's fine for that rule to be breaking us. And then we should have one in between. So this is kind of weird. Well, I guess the way we would do this is we would kind of move that down. We would have to leave 6 tiles here in order for that to make any sense. Maybe 7 tiles. To have one in the middle. That makes sense because you have to render all of these tiles, right? That just makes sense. So I think that's fine. And then this is another weird thing. Again, that's not technically possible. You'd have to have, again, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So you'd have to have 6 in between. And that's because this is a deep wall. So this layer, no, this rule set should be deep walls. This tile, this int grid should be for deep walls. Either I would do it on the whole layer, or we would have just different int grids for different depth of walls. Because that's kind of the next thing to figure out, maybe, is how to combine different depths together. Interesting. This is very good, though. These rules make sense the way they're written. This is broken because it doesn't have enough over here. And this is weird because it doesn't line up here. And this is weird because there's only 5 instead of 6. So that should look better. Yep. Some weird bugs here, but this is also not really possible, I think. So that also makes sense. Make this possible, we probably need to make this thicker. Like that. So there's no overlap. Ooh. That is really nice. And then walls. Yeah. So what I could do, like right now I have background, so I can control the background. But one thing I wanted to experiment with was having an auto layer below everything. Auto floor, I don't know. Ink grid layer, we're going to use wall 16. Use castle tile sets. Edit the rules. And we just go carpet. Now I shouldn't have to draw the floor in anymore. Oh, it's amazing. That's amazing. Yep, and this room just filled up. Looks good. This room looks good. I think I can delete this background layer now. I think this whole background layer has just become irrelevant. Lovely. Actually, and I have trim here. I could also make trim an auto layer thing if I wanted to. Like, let's see what it would look like to implement trim as an auto layer rule. We would say walls. Well, there's no wall. And then on this side, there is a wall. It would be like that. And then we would put, oh, sorry. We would put this. I think it's either this one or this one. It's this one, sorry. Yep. And we're going to say don't stop processing rules so you can process the background. And so this way, we can make an auto rule that says every area that has this carpet has the same thing. Da-dum. I picked the wrong image again. I was like, that's weird that that one's right, but the other one was the opposite. That's fine. And then don't stop. Don't stop. Can't stop. Don't stop the beat. Boom, 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 boom. This one's a Y flip. That one's an X flip. And then we would say, okay, here, how do we do a corner? Nothing here and a wall here. And let's make this corner, which I think is this corner. That's right. And then these take precedence, I think, to the corners always. Is that the rule I came up with? Oh, but not, don't stop. Oh, but maybe not stopping is going to cause an issue here, actually. Because if I do that, it's going to make a gray mark. Ah, all right. Sorry, I hit the wrong button here. This also might not be the right rule. Let me just see. Where does this match? That matches all of those. So not a wall. That matches here. That matches here, here, here. These are not walls. Ah. That is it. But it does kind of create this problem. Yeah, you can see here. This one renders here also. So it is a problem. We can't shove it on here. But what we could do, if we wanted to do this with an auto layer, yes, that's what I'm trying to say. We could create another auto layer and say trim, right? And then base it on wall 16, castle. Then we would come here and add our, we're on the wrong layer. Sorry, auto floor trim. No. Doesn't have to really come down, but we're going to put it down anyways. Auto trim. And then our auto trim. Again, we're going to do, oh, sorry, not that one. We're going to do, yeah, I could have just kept it open. I could have. We're going to do that. Right. We're going to flip Y. Then we're going to add wall. This one's going to be the left side, which is on my right side, because this is going to make it hug the left side of the wall. Sorry, I said the right thing, but I wrote the wrong thing here. And that's going to flip that way. And that looks a little bit more normal. And then we're going to put the corner dude. Nothing in this sleeve. And then all around here, we're going to have stuff. That's going to be the corner dilly. Yep. And that's going to flip X. And that's going to flip Y. And now we have automatic wall-to-wall carpeting. But it does leave one thing, is that we do have these small blue pixels that punch through, which we had before. It's nothing new. But it might mean that for our trim, we should make our trims squared off instead of rounded like this, even though I want it to be rounded. Or if we want it to be rounded, like this, we would use this color over here to create that rounded illusion. Or, hold on, the trim stays the way it is, and the floor tile gets a special corner floor tile that uses this. Or the walls get a special wall tile that makes the room rounded. So many options. This is very cool that I got this to work though. How long we've been working? What time is it? 3 hours almost. And it is, I don't have a clock. This is great. Working without a clock is the best. It is 4 p.m. So I need to exercise. That's what 4 p.m. means. Time to move my lazy butt. Well, okay, we made massive progress here, which is good. The walls are where the walls say they are. Holes in the wall represent floor, which is the way it should be. Interesting. So if I were going to release this tile set, instead of drawing it the way I drew it here, which is interesting because it works here in Tile Setter, which is funny because Tile Setter also has an all tiling feature, and it creates all these tiles that I haven't created yet. Like these tiles, I don't think I have. I wish there was a way to select a tile and like inspect it. This tile I definitely don't have. This tile is botched. But that's an easy fix also. We would touch these up. But it's interesting. It's interesting. So this represents floor. This is me painting the floor. This is me painting the floor tiles and getting free walls out of it. Versus what I set up now, which is me painting walls and getting free floor out of it. Which is probably how it should be. Right? Because when I erase the floor, when I erase the floor, I get ceiling. And the other one, when I erase the walls, I get the floor. And so this would be... I don't think I can pull this in here because it's not the right size. I can, it's just not the right size. Those are 48 by 48. And maybe grab, I think it's this one. And come here, and then we paste it. And then this, instead of the inside, well, oh, no, I see. Some of you just have this. Right? Cool. But you can see too, like tile setter does a little bit more for us even than LDTK does. Well, it generates the tiles, number one. Like it creates composite images of the tiles, which is incredibly useful. You don't even have to think about all these weird rules, but then it also lets us test them. I guess that's fine. I don't know. What the heck would you have this for? That wouldn't exist anywhere. I'm trying to think like how you could use this. You know what I mean? Like this does have an export option if you wanted to export it as an image, which you could do. I mean, the other thing that you could do also, right, is you could just create the entire world in your image editor instead of using tiles. Now, why would you want to use tiles? I'm guessing you would want to use tiles because I don't know. I don't know on a modern game engine that it would make a difference if you use tile versus a really big bitmap. Because, like, how big is your bitmap going to be that's not going to fit into memory? You know what I mean? Like, even if your, geez, if your bitmap was like a couple hundred megs, which would be really unusual, then you would still have, you know, plenty of system resources left. So I think where tile based games really got their advantage back in the day was probably memory management, because you knew exactly how many cells you were going to render on the screen. And then you probably did some sort of off screen buffering and rendering. But since that's not a technical constraint anymore, we have plenty of RAM to work with. Or at least enough for a bitmap image, right? I don't think there's any bitmap image that's going to be too big to fit into memory. Okay, so I think this is good. This is really good. Obviously, there are more rules that we need to set. I need to figure out what those are. I can use this sucker to help me determine what those rules are and then piece them together. And I can use tile setter to help me quickly generate those tiles like it did for me here. And I'm wondering if I should have it generating them in the reverse. Like, let's take, for example, can I create another? I'm going to grab a different tile, which is going to be I guess this tile. Let's create this tile and export. What? Oh, yeah. No, that's what I wanted. Okay. And I go here and I can use the same tiles just in reverse, right? So now I'd grab this bottom tile here. Right? Yeah, that's exactly what I would want. Grab this. Let's move this a little bit closer to here so I don't have to go back and forth as much. This UI is terrible. I know they thought this was a good idea, but they were wrong. They were very wrong. I understand it though. Also, all my walls are symmetrical, so I can do the same thing and use the same bottom wall for everything. I picked the wrong square. I can pick the bottom one for everything because this app is going to rotate them automatically, assuming that I am using the same tile for all of them. Yeah, there you go. And that's what you end up with. And this is what it would look like if we drew it the other way. Interesting. That is interesting. It's interesting because if you drew it this way, these would be highlights and not shadows. And those maybe should be highlights, and these should have shadows. So I think for these inner ones, we're not going to use composites. For these inner ones, we're going to use the ones that I created, because the ones I created have shadows that go in. Let me just grab this. Grab this. Right. It's very subtle, but there's this kind of line, this dark line on the diagonal that goes inwards. And then here, what we would have to do is we would have to create. I hit Control S and my whole thing just froze. Oh, there it is. It didn't freeze. It was probably showing this modal dialog in a place where I couldn't see it. Let's go to my art and just call it Zelda. It's a tile setter project. And now this is cool because now what I can do here is I can, well, number one, I could test it. Okay, let's see how my walls work now. That's not my brush. Open my brush tool. Which is pretty cool, right? Because we would have some sort of outside wall here. This still takes 3 tiles. This is the thing that doesn't make any sense to me. Why is it? Oh, because these are single. This is not filled in. So if I fill it in, then it'll draw a nice ceiling for me. Because now we're not drawing floor anymore, we're drawing ceiling. And then if I remove pieces, it'll create nice little removed pieces for me, right? So we would work with it. We would work with it like that and work with the eraser tool to create the negative space, which does make sense. Right, and this will reveal to us like this. These are problems, potential problems in our grid, but I don't think so because you should have space for the player to walk, right? You need these tiles in order for the player to be able to walk. Arguably, the mistake I made was maybe creating a blob instead of using the Wong method. The Wong method might work better for these particular tiles. Right, and that gives me these. And I wish I could click on this and kind of inspect which tile here this is over here. I think it's this one. I'm pretty sure it's that one. Yeah, it's 100% that one. And another cool thing I can do here is I can copy from here. For example, I can open this in here, and then I'm going to hop off, by the way. I did say I was going to get off. I could plop that in here And now I can touch this up. And I'm going to keep my same 16 by 16 grid so I can tell where I am on my 16 by 16 tile grid. And what we're going to do here, actually what I'm going to do here, are these all colors on my palette? They are. So this one, I could leave that one probably, and I could probably just work with this gradient. That, and that. Is that it? Those are the three colors? Okay, so this one and these two. Take my shading brush. And we're just going to make a highlight. You see that? Pretty neat, right? What we could also do, that's a single pixel one, which is probably more in the style that the Zelda game was. I can make my brush size a little bit bigger and go like that. 3 pixels. What's 3 pixels look like? That's a square brush. That does really pop though, right? That makes it like pop out in 3D more. Or we could do it with a round brush. It could also be interesting. What does a round brush look like? Yeah, yep. We get like a crosshair brush on this one. Yeah, that looks a little bit tighter. Right? And then what I would do is just Control A, go back into here, and we'll paste that as a new custom. So we're not compositing that anymore. I think it does still use this as a reference to composite the other ones. So I think these, we'll see these get updated as a result if I turn this off. Yep. And we'll plop this in. Ooh, that looks good. And we're going to use the same reference, but I'll flip X, composite, flip Y, end X, composite. It's not a composite. Flip X and Y. No, just sorry, flip Y. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Now these suddenly pop up a bit more. And then if I go down here, yeah, see how these inner edges look a little bit more. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But again, I think I can do this with the long method. I don't think I need to do the way I did this specifically. But another cool thing I can do here, I'm going to hit save. Another cool thing I can do is I can grab my cursor here and, well, I could either export it directly as an image or I could copy paste it. So my dialog opened up again. Probably copy paste it, and then we could throw this into LDTK and then add more rules to make it show up the way that we want. It does feel a little bit weird, right? Like this program is actually creating all of the auto tile rules for me, and then I'm throwing everything into LDTK again, which is a bit weird. But now, like when I go to export, there's an export, add export format. What the heck does that even mean? Tile setter orthographic export format. Hold on a sec. I think that means I can make plugins for this. You can also export it directly to the game engine like Godot, which is cool. And if I did that, that would also kind of cut out the LDTK middleman. But I kind of like the LDTK middleman. We could also see what JSON outputs. art. JSON. I don't know. Walls.json. Right? And then we can take a look down here. Oh, what? Walls.ping and walls.text. So I was going to make a JSON file. Is it calling it JSON? Is it calling it text? Yes, but as a JSON. Members, blob sets, Wong sets. Oh, this is interesting. I don't know how this translates though. Tile size 48 Wong sets. And then what did it generate? I'm gonna open up in Libra Sprite. That's fine. Oh, that is a wild looking, because it packed it. It packed it for us. Like, this is dizzying to look at. This is definitely not for humans. It's definitely optimized for computers, which is good. Oh, that's cute. That's cool. That looks insane. That looks pretty sick. There are some things I like about Libra Sprite better, but there are some like huge time saving things that I like better about A Sprite. So I'll probably stick with A Sprite. There is no JSON file. Okay. Well, there you have it. We did some combination of different things here. Figure out how to try to plug in some tools together. This is a great tile set that this came up with, though. Okay. Yeah. I will leave this for now. I got to get to my workout, but this was a very productive day. I will catch you guys next time. By the way, when I actually figure out how all this stuff kind of fits together really well, what I am going to do is I'm going to make a video on this, specifically like from the art perspective, how to create the tiles, all the way up to plugging it into the game engine. Also using LDTK because that's kind of my editor of choice right now for the map editor. So how to go from creating the sprites to like how to actually create them, and go from creating the sprites to plugging them into the map editor and doing the auto tiling rules, and going all the way up to creating a proof of concept like game with some like coding stuff. That's what I'm planning on doing. It's probably a long while out, but I'm making pretty good progress on understanding how a lot of this stuff is working. So that's good. In any case, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.